thumb not around the bar? What's the significance?
Now let's talk about anatomical planes. Let's speak about anatomical planes. When a person holds the bar, the first premise, they're committing to a motion. So when I'm holding the bar, by right, my nervous system tells me to hold on tighter so I don't fall. When I take my thumb off the bar, it teaches my body grace, strength, and more importantly, I know what the back of my body feels like. If you look at the hands, the thumb is controlled by the back of the body, also known as the brachioradialis. On the Vitruvian Man, when we speak Michelangelo and individuals that way, the back of the body is the brachioradialis. So when I go ahead and I uncommit from this movement, executing the front of my body and my biceps squeezing, I take away and I pull with just the back of my body. So I'm actually working my trapezius, I'm actually working my latissimus, my triceps, and my brachioradialis, all muscles located in the posterior chain.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To all the Rip Right Hadith disciples, YouTubers, and viewers, welcome back to another video on Rip Right HD. And today is a special video because I got somebody 6 hours away, man. The scientist, man. Ball boy, aka Freeze himself. He's gonna drop us with that science, man. Introduce yourself, big.
Salute that mind. Ball boy here, aka Mr.Freeze, Rochester, New York. Calisthenics, body weight, conditioning, all of the above, mental science more importantly.
Stay tuned and stay fit.
باب مفتوح للاجتهادات التقليد هذا حد العالم هذا طالب هذا راسخ والى اخره تحت
Alright, it's a little bit loud in here, so today what we're going to discuss is form and rhyme. Usually when I do videos for That's Good Money and we getting a lot of views on that channel, people may say he had bad form. But when I look at it, the form is clean, but the person is not actually doing full range of motion. So today we're trying to find out, is there a difference between form and between rhyme, between the full range of motion? Like here, if a person is doing a pull-up, that's a nice straight pull-up, but he's not going all the way up and not going all the way down, is that bad form or is that good form without full range of motion? So we asked Freeze to discuss that in a little bit of detail for us.
Okay, to keep it in simpler terms, you have to utilize every human being in the world when we speak of range of motion and form. When we speak of form, yes, there are wrong ways to do pull-ups when you go outside of the range of motion of 180 degrees or a straight line. When we talk about range of motion, short pull-ups, long pull-ups, lockout pull-ups, each pull-up has a different aspect in which muscle group that it hits. For instance, if you take a 250-pound man and he does pull-ups, but you say his pull-ups don't count because his chin is not over the bar, you have to put that same weight on as that 250-pound man to actually refute your case. Because you can't tell me that a man 250 pounds, if he pulls his weight halfway, that he's not pulling his body's weight, versus that same individual or whoever they are says at 160 pounds, I'm going over the bar and his pull-ups don't count. So in my opinion, if a person's weight distribution is differentiated, tendon attachment more importantly, and most importantly, time on bar, bro. A person has to know how to teach the bar or know how the bar works and how the muscles work in order to actually say a person doesn't have good form or clean range of motion pull-ups.
Copy. Okay, so now let's say a person is doing quote unquote half pull-ups, right? They don't count to whoever they are.
Right.
Now, if I'm going this high with my chin under the bar, what's the difference between my chin being under the bar and between my chin being over the bar?
When we speak of the basics, going under the pull-up bar executes your primary mover for the pull-up, which is the forearm. Every time a person's chin goes over the bar, they're executing more core work. So when I instruct the person to get strong on the bar, I instruct range of motion first to their range of motion that feels comfortable first. And as they get stronger, I instruct them chin below the bar to know what muscle groups actually utilize the pull and the pull-up, because everybody rides on the core. After you get to a certain range of motion, it becomes difficult. So in my opinion, and it is my belief in my theories and my test subjects, that coming below the bar first, it teaches a person the nervous system aspects on how to fire from the forearm, bicep, then the latissimus, then you use the core.
Okay, so next note, I noticed that after training with the bartenders and different people, because I've trained with Snoop Goldwings before. You know, he's a
Shout out to
barbarian.
Snoop.
Shout out to Snoop, beast on the bar, push game serious. I call him the push king. Now, I wasn't taught to hold a bar like this with my thumbs around the bar, but it just so happens that's how I hold the bar. Now, I noticed doing my muscle ups, I was holding the bar so tight that going up for a muscle up, I didn't let the bar go to actually turn my wrist, so I ended up hurting my wrist. And I noticed that working out with, you know, bartenders, giant, y'all hold the bar like this, with the thumb not around the bar. What's the significance?
Now let's talk about anatomical planes. Let's speak about anatomical planes. When a person holds the bar, the first premise, they're committing to a motion. So when I'm holding the bar, by right, my nervous system tells me to hold on tighter so I don't fall. When I take my thumb off the bar, it teaches my body grace, strength, and more importantly, I know what the back of my body feels like. If you look at the hands, the thumb is controlled by the back of the body, also known as the brachioradialis. On the Vitruvian Man, when we speak to Michelangelo and individuals that way, the back of the body is the brachioradialis. So when I go ahead and I uncommit from this movement, executing the front of my body and my biceps squeezing, I take away and I pull with just the back of my body. So I'm actually working my trapezius, I'm actually working my latissimus, my triceps, and my brachioradialis, all muscles located in the posterior chain.
Got it.
Anterior is a person where a learned behavior tells you in the front of you, I have to close my hands. Discipline and ethics and coordination teaches you, okay, this is difficult for any man, no matter if your posterior chain is natural or not. You don't come out the womb with a complete naturally posterior chain. There are always inconsistencies within that area. So letting go teaches you how to fire from that posterior aspect, and you're not committing to a movement.
So with this, you're using more muscles instead of using less muscles.
Of course you are, because you're exhausting yourself by squeezing. Once the forearm goes, you can't pull anymore. Once oxygen can't get to that area, you can't pull with that muscle anymore. This is the primary mover on the pull-up. When the phalanges close, this is executed. Then the bicep, then everything else fires. That's why I say pulling below the bar, this is going to fire the primary movers. When I go above the bar, this is my core. So do I want my lats to grow, or do I want my core to get stronger? The thing is, how many people know how to instruct the bar versus just jumping up doing a pull-up? This is why I say range of motions matter, and there's no wrong pull-up, especially when you're talking about guys who are big men. You know what I mean? I'm not exactly small, I'm not exactly big, so I fit myself in the middle, so I instruct myself to train with people who aren't like me to get stronger. So if I know I wasn't taught false grip or staggered grip or not committing to a motion, why would I go back to this if I know this is difficult? This is a learned behavior because nobody wants to fall off the bar. So you come here and I'm not committing to a motion and I can move on the bar. All right? Yes, sir.
Nice. Okay, now, I also noticed after working out with different people that, you know, especially in the competition world, they want your chin above the bar, and then they also want you to what we call knock out. What do you recommend as far as the locking out is concerned?
Me personally, however you do your pull-up, it's on you, man. Whatever you do to get your gains, whatever you do to say, okay, I'm better than what I was yesterday, I salute them for the movement. When we talk about safety of the low joints and functional strength, if you look in the mirror, the joints don't lock naturally. So why would I go against something natural because they say in a competition I want to lock out? So to the people, I would say to them, if you want to lock out, that's your preference. If you want to save your low joints, your rotator cuffs, you want to stop your tendonitis, you want to stop your gliding joint from getting inflammation and things of that nature, why would I go against natural human movement? You're standing here right now and your elbow has a slight bend in it. Why would I go against that ethic? Because there's no muscle that grows there, King. There's no muscle in the elbow area, knee area, hip area, all the load joints that move on a ball and socket, gliding joint, fixed joint. These areas do not accumulate muscle, tendons and ligaments in that area. So why would I go against that small tendon and that ligament? And then I wonder why my shoulder blows out 4 months later, because I already had an issue from locking out.
Yo, we appreciate it, man. 6 hours away, man. Ball Boy came to bless the balls over here in Grit City. BarTenDaz, Rip Right. We in the building. He just gave y'all the rundown. Nickname Scientist, and that ain't for no reason, man. Stay tuned, stay fit. We got the Ball Father in the building.
This is Rip Right. I'm just so
Giant.
Shout out to Rip Right.
They got brothers like this sharing jewels. I feel so bad for all you teams that got 860 cents for 30 people that's mentally bankrupt. Bye.
Yeah. Hey, yo, man, stay tuned and stay fit, man. Shout
Yes,
out
sir.
to the people, man. Make sure y'all follow my man. His Instagram going to be in the description below. You're going to get that YouTube popping. Mr.Freeze, man. Ball Boy, a.k.a. the Scientist, man. Stay tuned, stay fit, y'all.
BarTenDaz, lifestyle.
Mind up.
Indeed, in the body, literal translation, is a lump of flesh, a piece of meat. إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله. And when that lump of flesh